I love my life. 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 No, that was
Hey guys, it's Traveling R and Kimmy here. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you are my regular viewers, thank you so much for continuing to watch these videos. I really appreciate you guys. This video is going to be a little different just because this was requested by a viewer. Shout out to @Esther5482. The question was, can you please do a video on negotiating your contract and what you must include in it? Perfect question. I even met a girl in New York when I was on that strike contract that had asked me this. She was on her first contract, and I feel bad because she technically missed out on the strike pay because she didn't really know what to look for, what was going on, how to negotiate her contract. So like I said, I feel like this is a great question. So let's get into this video. Okay. So there are so many things that you need to know, especially whether you are a new nurse or you are an experienced nurse and you're doing travel nursing. There's a few things that I do specifically when it comes to negotiating my contract. So let's get into the first thing. Now, what I do, I always have a number that I am looking for, my minimum pay that I know, okay, I'm going to take this contract if it pays whatever it is in total. Okay, so let's, for example, my number, I have a PRN position and I base it on my PRN position rate because that is what I am doing when I'm not on travel nursing contract. And I know that when I'm not travel nursing, if I did just my PRN position, I would be satisfied with what I'm getting take home because that is already paying my bills and I still can save. Now, if you are a new nurse, I would compare it to what you are currently getting if you are new to travel nursing, not a new nurse. But if you're new to travel nursing, this is about to be your first contract. What I would do is compare it to how much you are getting paid as a staff nurse and then build your number from that. So like I said, my current number is $70 an hour. So my $70 an hour for 36 hours is $2,520. That's how much I get paid as a PRN travel nurse. That is my base pay, okay? So I base my contracts on this number. So if I am taking a contract, a travel nursing contract, whether it is close to my house or far from my house, that number needs to be bigger than this number because I am not going down. We're only going up. So like I said, I first have my minimum and then I build from there. So my minimum is $2,500. Now this number, now if I'm thinking, okay, well, I want to make more, right? I want to make an additional $1,000 to what I'm currently taking home. I would just add that to the total minimum. So let's say so currently, perfect example, my current situation, when I picked this current travel nursing contract, my minimum was $3,000. Now, that might be a little much compared to, and it depends on your department, guys. Every department is not going to pay the same, but like I said, the first thing you do, know what your minimum is, and you need to tell your recruiter also what your minimum is. Don't just take anything just because it's like, oh, it's a travel nursing contract. Every travel nursing contract is not actually paying you good money, just so you know. So have your minimum. Don't go below that. So once I have my minimum, then I talk to my recruiter, okay? The next thing you're gonna need to do is make sure you you are working, make sure you have submitted your resume and you have multiple travel nursing agencies that you are looking at. And the reason for this is that you are going to be comparing how much one company is paying for the same contract compared to the next one, compared to the next one. You need to have those numbers, because every agency is not paying the same thing. And I don't know if a lot of travel nurses know this, but Aya is going to pay one thing, Trusted Health is paying another thing, Triage Health is paying another thing. You have to compare these companies. And what I do, which every company does not do this, but what I do, which is why I love my company, my favorite company right now as a travel nurse is Triage Health. I'm going to say it because it is my favorite. I do work for Aya also, because Aya is the only company currently that has like a good rate for my PRN travel nursing. And then I use Aya for strike nursing or whatever. But like I said, my Triage Health, the travel contract that I'm on is currently with Triage Health. If I find a company that is paying, let's say, $3,000, for example, Aya is paying $3,000. Triage has posted on their website that they are paying $2,500. Another company has said they are paying $2,600. I don't really care. The point is, you need to have those numbers, because what I do is I go to my recruiter and I said, hey, I am really interested in this contract with this hospital. I also saw on Aya's website that they have the same contract, but they are paying $500 more. Can you see if you guys can match it? And I'm not kidding, guys. Every single time I have found a contract that is higher than what my travel nursing agency is doing, they have matched it every single time. So that is why I always have multiple agencies that I'm comparing rates, because these hospitals aren't giving the same rates to every single agency. That's not how they work. They're trying to see who can they pay less, honestly. And I'm not going to get paid less. So, like I said, get multiple agencies. So what I do is I have Aya, I have Trusted Health, I have Triage Health. I also have Vivian. And Vivian, I feel like, is helpful, but not like perfect, because Vivian also has, what Vivian does is it has multiple agencies that have posted their contracts, and you can see what all these different agencies are. Some of these are big known agencies. Some of them are really small companies. Like Triage Health is a small company. I didn't know about Triage Health until I went to Vivian. Vivian is actually where I met my recruiter, and I applied for a contract, did that contract, and it was great, and here we are. But like I said, Vivian is helpful, but it's not perfect. So I use it as a tool, like I said. So that's the second thing I would do. Have these multiple agencies so you can compare the rate of one person to the next one. Okay, great. Okay, guys, so this is what happened with my current contract. So when I went on Triage Health, they were offering the position for $2,007.22, right? I went on Vivian and I saw that some other company, there was like 3 different companies, but I picked the one that was posted the highest rate and then send that to them. And I always take a screenshot and I said, hey, this is what they're paying. Can you guys match it? Right? So that other company was offering $2,410, and I was like, hey, can you match it? So my recruiter, and this is why having a good recruiter is key, guys, because some of these recruiters don't want to work. They just want to have you sign whatever paper so they can get their commission and not give a damn about the actual person behind these contracts. So this is why I love my recruiter. All right, so she came back to me and she's like, so They said they can give you $2,200. Aya had posted on their website that they were paying 2,200 and some, no, 2,000 and something. And I was like, I don't really want to pay that. I don't want to take that. I need 2,400. And I'm not taking a contract if it's less than this, because she did say, and this is key, which my recruiter is still good, because I gave her my answer and she went back working and trying to get me what I needed. She said that another person was submitted for the position and they had offered that person a low rate, like not even 2,200, like $2,050. I don't really care. Not because another person has been submitted mean that I'm going to take low pay. Like, that's just BS, and I'm not going to do it. Okay, I said I'm not taking this contract if it's 2,400, if it's less than 2,400. So I said one thing I will consider is I will consider taking a position that is 48 hours. So I was like, go back to them and say, hey, she said she can work 48 hours. Can you now give me, because not only that, so now with the 48 hours, they have to increase my pay. So they went back, she went back, sent in the request and everything. I did my interview, guys, and my position came out to $3,108.04. I'm going to, and I'm all about pay transparency, so I ain't beefing it. So I'm gonna post how much I actually, like my whole contract, how much I'm getting paid, but that is what it comes out to, right? And here's the sweet part of my deal. Now, like I said, you have to have something to compare it to, so you have a goal as to what you want to get paid, right? My current position, like I said, I always compare it to my PRN travel nursing. I get that one pays me $70 an hour. When my take home pay for that position is $1,800, right? So that's what I am like. That's what I'm thinking. I need more than $1,800 if I'm doing a travel nursing contract. If I'm giving you all this time, that money gotta make sense for me. So here's the sweet deal. Like I said, my current PRN travel nursing position pays me $1,800 take home. That's how much I would get weekly with that PRN position. This current travel nursing contract, my stipend alone is $1,281 plus $644. My stipend alone is $1,925. So I'm already getting paid $125 over what I'm already getting with my PRN position. And that is stipend. This is non-taxable, right? This has nothing to do with my hourly rate, my hours that I'm actually working, that I'm getting paid to work. So with that being said, when my after taxes, and this is after my deductions, this is me getting medical, this is me after taxes, this is me after, I only contribute 1% currently towards my 401k because I am saving up for an emergency fund of $30,000. So most of that cash I want to go towards my emergency fund, and then once I hit that goal, I'm going to go to 15%. But like I said, my take home pay from 48 hours was $2,700. $2,700. That is an additional, for the week, compared to my PRN travel nursing, that is an additional $900 in my pay. And that is for 1 week. So for the month, I am getting $3,600 for my pay in this contract. An additional, that's extra money that I have made in this travel nursing contract. Extra money. My bills, this doesn't even has to do with anything budgeting, but that is what my bills is. So like I said, the first thing, you need to know what your number is. You have to know what your number is. Know what you're going to take. I personally, when I do contracts, I prefer a high stipend compared to the hourly rate, because this is why I say that. You might get canceled. It happens. You might get canceled, and depending on the hospital, because that's how they do their cancellation, it depends on what the hospital is. But my current contract says that I can only get canceled one time in a 2-week period, which is amazing, because remember guys, we don't get PTO with travel nursing. You only get sick leave. So here's why I say that. If they cancel me in my travel nursing contract, guess what? I'm still getting my stipend. So that $1,900 is still going to be in my paycheck, whether they cancel me or not, period. Now, if I don't show up for this contract, like a call out, now the only thing you're going to get is the hourly rate if you have sick leave, because if you're calling out sick, they're going to give you sick leave, and that's only if you have sick time. So for me, I love a high stipend, because I know if they cancel me, I'm still going to get my money. You know what I mean? The least I know I will get is at least $1,900. And then I actually found out with this contract, for working 3 shifts, right? I get canceled for 1, and I'm working a regular 3 shifts like everybody else. I took home $2,400. It's still a better deal. It's still a better deal. So like I said, the first thing, you need to know your number. You need to know what number you are willing to take. You need to know whether or not you are willing to work more than 36 hours. 48 hours in my position, because I am a NICU nurse, is not horrible. Like I have never felt like, oh my God, I hate this. I don't want to be here. I love my job. 48 hours for me is not horrible. I am an overachiever. I am a workaholic. Okay? I'm not saying you have to do what I do, right? If you want to only work 36 hours, work 36 hours. Still know your number. You need a good recruiter. Like, you need a recruiter that's willing to go back and forth and ask. You need a recruiter that's willing to work for you, because that's what they are there for. They're literally there to work for you. Okay? You need a good recruiter, and you need to know what the numbers are from other agencies, because these hospitals are not paying everybody the same. Just like how they're not paying their nurses the same. They're trying to pay the least amount of money they absolutely can. And what they are begging for is for somebody to just see that contract and just sign their name. Don't question anything. I'm going to question it. I'm going to get as much money as I possibly can out of this position, because I'm working my butt off. And that's what I'm going to do. So those are my 3 tips when it comes to negotiating these contracts. And this is a big if, because I don't know how confident some people are. Some people are oversharers, and they sit down and they are like, literally, I met this girl and she immediately told me everything about the hospital, how much they're getting paid, blah, 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 blah. Some people just let you know how much they are getting paid. If anyone asks me, how much is this contract paying you? I'm going to answer. It doesn't hurt me to answer that question. And if they choose to volunteer their information, guess what? That is information for me, because I'm going to take that number. If I know me and someone else started the same contract within a week of each other, right? We should be getting very similar pay. And I am not going to lie, guys, I have done contracts working with other travel nurses. We started similar times, and I was getting paid more than them. I was getting paid more than them. And I think one of those reasons is that I negotiate. I don't just sign my name on every single thing that comes in. I'm going to look and see what I can get, because it's a position. This is a job. They have the need and I'm there to help with the need. And this is staff nursing or travel nursing. As a nurse, you need to be negotiating your contract. You don't need to take every number that they immediately give you. I always ask for more. I'm not lying, guys. I always ask for more. When I was working as a NICU nurse, a staff NICU nurse, I was getting paid. Oh God, guys. Okay. So when I was working as a NICU nurse, I had taken a position working every weekend. And before I took the position, I asked everyone, because there are people there for 10, 15 years. I asked them, do they give you a raise when you jump into this position? Because technically it is a new position. I have to apply for this position. They have to do an interview technically, and then they give me the position. It's like a whole different, even though I'm still a NICU nurse and I'm still working for the same department, it's technically a whole different position, right? If I have to interview for something, I'm gonna ask for money. But I was told you do not get a raise. Every single person told me you do not get a raise. The only thing you get is the weekend differential that comes with it, which is nice because the weekend differential is $15, and that's how they rope you in. Because they know that you're already getting a raise because we give you the differential. No, that is not a raise. That is a part of my contract because I am committing to giving you my weekend every single weekend forever, pretty much, right? That is not a raise. That is part of my contract, okay? So when I got my position, I asked for more money. I said, I have been working for this hospital for X amount of time. I am a hard worker. I do not call out. I am dedicated. I am all these things. You know, you got to hype yourself up. And I believe that based on what's going on in these other hospital systems, I believe I can get a raise. Before I sign my contract, I am requesting to get an X amount of dollars. I got a $3 raise, guys, on top of my $15 that I got for my weekend differential. I was the only person that requested more money. The only one. And when the next nurse asked me, do they give you a raise? Yes, if you ask. That is my answer. Yeah, if you ask. But if you're just going to take everything everybody tells because everybody has done the same thing, you're not going to get more. They're just going to continue to do the same thing. And then the next year, I got another $3 raise. So, moral of the story, ask and you shall receive. Obviously, this is not always the case, but I always say it's not going to kill me if they say no, but I'd rather ask the question and say I asked and got the no than didn't ask and now I'm wondering, could I have gotten this? Could I have done this? Ask the questions, guys. So right back to it. Like I said, know your number, know what you're willing to take, know how much you're willing to work, get a good recruiter who is able to go back and forth for you because that is their job. And then make sure you're comparing your numbers with different agencies because that is key to you getting the right number, getting the right amount, okay? That is how I negotiate my contracts, and that's how I'm going to continue to do it. And if anybody knows something extra I can do, put that comment down below and I will definitely implement it because why not? Okay? All right, so for my favorite part of the video, because I got paid last week, right? Let's do Payday Friday. Okay, so For this this Payday Friday, I got 2 paychecks because I worked one shift with my PRN travel nursing and another with my travel. I did my regular, like I said, I did my 48 hours with this contract. So now I have exactly how much money I'm going to get from both if I had work 5 days a week, right? Sorry. So let's go over the first paycheck. For my first paycheck with my PRN travel nursing, I did 12 hours. And the gross pay for this was $840. Taxes and deductions was $133.90. And my take-home pay for this paycheck was $706.10. Now for my second paycheck, I did a total of, and see, this is technically more than 48 hours. For this position, this is my travel nursing contract. For this paycheck, I worked a total of 49.28 hours. My earnings was $3,182.28. The deductions that were taken out was $190.50. And the taxes that were taken out was $266.61. My total take home for this position was $2,725.17. I can't tell you how excited I was when I saw this. When I had estimated in my budget how much I was going to get paid, I thought it was going to be maybe $2,600, maybe. Yeah, because you don't really know, right? Especially with my deductions, and I was like, I don't really know how much I'm going to get paid. But, yeah, so that's what I got. So for last week, my grand total for my pay was $3,431.27. So freaking excited. So excited. Always happy when I get to pick up that extra shift at my PRN position and when I get my total amount of hours from these jobs. So that money is going straight into my savings account. This is just my regular savings account. This is not my high yield savings account. This money is not going to be touched. If you are not already aware of how I do my budgeting, I pay my bills a month ahead of time so that I am able to see exactly how much money I am taking in and budget according to how much money I actually took in, not what I think I'm going to make, because you literally never know what's going to happen. Like, I could get sick one day, have to call off, then now I have to, that paycheck is going to be short, all of that jazz. I ain't got no time for that. So, like I said, I put all my paychecks into my savings account for the month. So the entire month of May, all those paychecks are going to go into my savings account. At the end of May, with that last paycheck, I tally up all that money, and then I divvy it up through my budget. I go through my expenses, I go through my bills, and then whatever money is left over after those two things, because I have zero debt, that money goes into my high yield savings account, because I am saving for a $30,000 emergency fund, which is going to fund that fund is 6 months of expenses and bills for me. So that is my goal. That's what I'm aiming for. Super excited. Like I said, this week, I know I'm going to get also 2 checks, because today I did work my PRN position. I did only work 8 hours, which I've never done with my PRN position. So I am curious about how much money I am actually going to take home from that today. But between that and my travel nursing contract, I am curious about how much money I'm actually going to get next week. But my goal is to be hitting like 3,000 a week. That is my goal. 3,000 a week take home. I heard, I was listening to Dave Ramsey because I am a faithful listener. And I heard this dentist said that he take home about 16K a month. 16K a month. And I was like, well, damn, I could make that. As a nurse, I could make that. Now, I'm saying that I want to make like 3K a week. That's 12K for the month. Now, yeah, I'm 4,000 short from that, but I'm still happy with that considering that I'm not a doctor. So 12K a week, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, like I said, I am working 5 days a week for the most part. I am working 5 days a week. So there is that. This week when I get paid, I'm only getting one check because the shift that I was scheduled for last week at my PRN, I got canceled. And the thing with PRN position, there's no PTO. So I'm just not going to get paid anything. So only receiving one check, but I did work my 48 hours. So I know I'm going to get a 2,700. Actually, probably a little bit more because I actually worked 50 hours last week. So let's see how much I actually take home this week on my paycheck. But like I said, if you are willing to put in the work, you can make money. You can actually make the money. I love my job. This is not a headache for me. The only thing that for me that makes me consider like not working so much is the fact that my family, I want to spend time with them. So there is that balance that you kind of have to get. But if you are single, no kids, be productive. Be productive. Take advantage of it, especially if you're young, take advantage of it now. Because trust me, when you get older, you're going to wish you did. Just saying. So that's where we're at. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this information was helpful in some way or form. And if you have any other questions or suggestions about what kind of video you want me to make and information that I can, throw out there that I have, please leave those comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share these videos. And I will see you guys in the next one because I enjoy like sharing what I know. And yeah, I feel like this has been my contribution to the nursing community because there's so many things I wish I knew when I started. So I'm willing to continue to bless whoever I can with the knowledge that I have. And hopefully if anybody knows something that I don't know, please bless me with this knowledge because I'm a learner too. I'm always trying to learn. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful and blessed day.